Please open the womb of my mind, the womb of my heart, the womb of my sacred seat. Bless my hands to heal, as well as my voice and my feet to walk the path of the ancestors. Ashe. Good morning. I'm so glad to finally be here. I feel like it's always something. It's always something. If it's not my kids, it's my husband. I'm so glad to see some people are here. I'm so glad. Yeah, if it's not my kids, it's my husband. If it's not my husband, it's me. Something always goes awry. I always think like, I never, before I started this, I didn't realize how much effort goes into these little different things. So, I try and be prepared, but at the end of the day, I'm somehow always scrambling, even though I've like pre-prepared most of the sister circles for this year already. I'm still somehow scrambling. I don't know. But anyways, I hella need this hit this morning, y'all. So what we're going to be doing this morning is kind of a mix between womb yoga and womb yoga dance. There's a song called, I want to say it's called Voice of the Womb on the Sacred Woman CD, which is what we're about to listen to and dance to. And in it, she does some spoken word type of poetry, and then she also does singing. So while she is speaking, we will be doing womb yoga poses from the Hour of Newt womb yoga, and then we are going to be and then we're going to just dance for the other parts, and just make it more personal. It's a very it's not a very like uplifting song, especially in the beginning, because it does talk about the traumas and such of the womb, but I do think the song is super important to listen to, especially at this beginning part. And I think it is nice to listen to after going through the first part of the book, which is so dense. And like, I think the first part of the book, to be honest, is why so many people say like they can't get through the book, or they don't understand the book, or it's so dense and it's so difficult to get through. And there's just so much information in there, but it is the foundation, and it does lay like the groundwork for all the other gateways and how all the other gateways connect and come together. So I don't know, I like the other gateways because they're really exciting and fun, but the womb gateway, as like not fun as it can feel sometimes, is it's the point of it all. It's really where everything kind of goes back to. So last month was really kind of difficult in that way. So this month and the rest of the year, I'm really happy we're going to be able to focusing on things like a little more detail, with a little more detail, as opposed to just trying to hear the information and make sure we all have the same information, so we're starting from the same place, right? Like, we all have to know this is like where our womb is in our body. This is the organs on top of our womb. Like, it's all very simple, and people don't like to hear it at all. Like, they'll be like, don't tell me to go vegan. I'm like, I'm not telling you to go vegan, I'm just stating the body facts, that your colon is literally above your womb. So it's just it's the foundation knowledge. So anyways, my husband like hit this earlier, but he didn't finish it, and it seems like a big bowl, so I'm gonna try. So yeah, you can get yourself ready and in position to do some womb yoga movements right now. feel so much better, you guys. Like I haven't been drinking this year. And then I drank last night, and it affected me. I don't even feel like I drank that much, but you know how it is when you haven't been drinking and you go back. Just trying to find a tissue. Okay, so if you'll remember, the hour of Newt starts in our seat of Ashe. Which is just a squat. You're a comfortable distance apart. You can just bring your body down easily. We start with our seat of Ashe, seat of power. Then bring our hands up behind our neck and relax here. This is cosmic womb. We also have the downward dog-ish position. It can be just bending over. It can be, a little more traditional. This is the womb universal newt position. And then we have sunrise bliss, which is standing with our hands up. We have love supreme, again, standing, hands like this. And sunset serenity, standing, and back down to womb universal newt and Ashe, seat of power. So we're going to be posing into each of those poses while she's speaking, just trying to really focus on the message. That's really what all of the songs on the Sacred Woman CD are about, is really conveying the message of needing the womb health, of how to do it for yourself, and portraying it in a way that is so understandable and relatable. So let me just find this song. And when you do like the womb poses, I think it's Queen did such a wonderful job of choosing the womb poses, because you can really feel your womb moving. You can feel like your colon lifting up off of your womb. You can feel it getting a chance to breathe. And that's really what the womb poses are about, is giving your womb a chance to be in a different position than it usually is, and get a chance to move a little bit freely and readjust what's going on inside of you.
Grant that I may reach the heavens of everlastingness and the mountains of thy favored ones. May I be joined with the shining beams, holy and perfect. May I come forth with them to see thy beauties. Thou shinest at eventide, and thou goest to thy mother Newt. Listen to the inner voice of your womb. She has a voice, and she can speak. I can hear.
And this part is free movement.
My womb of healing. Healing me. I can hear my womb of healing, healing me. Free from anger, free from disease, free from pain and codependency. I can hear my womb of healing, healing me. I cry a river of tears that heal for the dear young sister who could have been my mother. She was sexually molested from the age of 7 by her father and her uncle, her father's brother. No one ever seemed to notice what tragedy had befallen this little girl. In the end, years of pain and grief led her to contract cancer of the womb. She died at age 29 from a broken heart and a broken womb. May her soul finally rest in peace. I cry a river of tears that heal for wounds that screech and scream as they are ripped and torn. And yet, with 1, 2, 3, 4 abortions, again, left bleeding on the table of regret, with a gaping hole in their soul, of unhealed, bruised wounds. I can hear my womb a healing, healing me. I can hear my womb a healing, healing me. Oh, great news, please guide me on this road of tranquility. I can hear my womb a healing, healing me. I cry a river of tears that heal for the Negro slave woman, my great-great-grandmother, who was forced to part her thighs for the entrance of a pale pink penis to fulfill her oldest demonic quest to force his way violently into her soft, dark womb, leaving it. I'm still enraged 400 years later. I still breathe. I'm outraged, feeling weak and helpless for all my great-grandmothers who passed their self-hate, lack of self-esteem down through the bloodline to me. My womb still pains me at the thought of rape of all the women of my race. My grandmother's rape, I scream. My mother's rape, I shout. My aunties rape, my sisters rape, my daughters rape, my rape. I cry out. I cry. I can hear my wound a healing, healing me. I can hear my wound a healing, healing me. Birth a new world from my space. Resurrection in destruction's place. I can hear my womb a healing, healing me. 'Cause I can hear my womb a healing, healing me. 'Cause I can hear my womb a healing, healing me. 'Cause I can hear my womb a healing, healing me. 'Cause I can hear my womb a healing, healing me. 'Cause I can hear my womb a healing, healing me. 'Cause I can hear my womb a healing, healing me. 'Cause I can hear my womb a healing, healing me. 'Cause I can hear my womb a healing, healing me. 'Cause I can hear my womb a healing, healing me. 'Cause I can hear my womb a healing, healing me. 'Cause I can hear my womb a healing, healing me. 'Cause I can hear my womb a healing, healing me. 'Cause I can hear my womb a healing, healing me. 'Cause I can hear my womb a healing, healing me. 'Cause I can hear my womb a healing, healing me. 'Cause I can hear my womb a healing, healing me. 'Cause I can hear my w I cry a river of tears that heal for our daughters who yearn for peace within their wombs. I cry soul tears of truth and vision, hope and praise for the resurrection of the sacred wombs of the first women. My tears cry a river of healing rays of lapis lazuli, emerald and energizing malachite, as they dance on the vision found, prayed up, purified, joyous wombs, sacred wombs, lifted up by us women and protected by our holy men, our good men. This womb vision offers us a future so bright that it sends crystal clear light throughout the land in a tide of deliverance. I can hear my womb a healing Sacred women in the making. Sacred women.
And we can use the song and finish the
as you open up your palms to divinity,
womb yoga.
Or gently place them over your heart, recite. Sacred Spirit, hold me near, close to your bosom. Protect me from all harm and fear, beneath the stones of life. Direct my steps in the right way as I journey through this vision. Sacred Spirit, surround me in your most absolute perfect light. Anoint me in your sacred purity, peace, and divine insight. Bless me, truly bless me, as I share this sacred life. Teach me, Sacred Spirit, to be in tune with the universe, how to heal with the inner and outer elements of air, fire, water, and earth. Sacred Spirit, hold me near, close to your bosom. Protect me from all harm and fear. Beneath the stones of life, direct my steps in the right way as I journey through this vision. Sacred Spirit, surround me in your most absolute perfect light. Anoint me in your sacred purity and divine insight. Bless me, truly bless me, as I share the sacred light. Teach me, Sacred Spirit, to be with you.
All right, now you can just do free movements however you feel until the song ends.
How to heal. Worthy, inner and outer, inner and outer, inner and outer, inner and outer elements of
Okay. So, Voice of My Womb, I know that one's like a hard song to get through sometimes, just because, I mean, it's, so like topic heavy and, I don't know, triggering in like a lot of ways, I think. But I think, that's what this is really about, is that collective generational healing, that healing that occurs from your bloodline when you decide to heal your own womb and your trauma, and then you can begin to heal that generational trauma. That's why a lot of people turn to root work and hoodoo in the first place, is because it allows you to do that type of work in a way that Christianity, of course, never really addressed. And yeah, that's why I always try and play that song at least once at the beginning of us going through the gateways. But let me see. This is the opening of Sacred Word. So what we're going to do is do the ceremony for that. I can find, oh, it's already back here, all my stuff. It started raining and being all beautiful outside. So always I try and start on page 124, which gives a brief overview of all of the gateways. So we're on Gateway 1, Sacred Word. The spiritual guardian is Tahuti, and Tahuti is the guardian attribute of the word and the patron of scribes. The inscribed glyphs on temple, tomb, obelisk, or sesh, papyrus, are the collective product of the Interu Tahuti. Two animals, the ibis and the cynocephalus, the dog-eared ape, are used to indicate this deity. Tahuti is present at the judgment scene and records the condition of the heart that is being weighed against Mot's feather of truth. Tahuti's association with Mercury indicates that he has a messenger status. Tahuti is also associated with the moon. Tahuti is the indwelling wisdom word that Heru, the spiritual warrior, consults in the war against Set challenges. A priest or priestess wearing the mask of an ibis, I'm not even sure if I'm saying that right, y'all. It's IBIS, is present at the celebration of Wep Renput, which marks the new year in the Hopi Nile Valley. In addition, the ritual of stretching the cord is used to orient the foundation of temples, which is presided over by Tahuti and Sesheta, the Interu of letters. And Sesheta also represents like secrets and the, you know, that very indwelling voice. So yes, so basically our guardians, the guardian of this gateway, it talks about words, it's talking about our thoughts. This gateway is talking about what we are reading, what we're consuming, what we're putting in front of ourselves, and yeah, in general, how our words, yes, here we are, how our words are being used. So our ancestors of sacred word, now I'm on, this page doesn't have a number, but it's the page before 143 is numbered, but the gateway page is not numbered. So 143 will have the altar work, and then I'm turned to the page before that. She lists the ancestors, the elders, and contemporaries. So Zora Neale Hurston, she's the author of Their Eyes Were Watching God. She's the author of just so many books, but also Mules and Men. And I think she has a couple others that aren't, you know, popping into mind right now. But Mules and Men is definitely a book where she worked roots. She went throughout the South. She became initiated under several different witch doctors and conjure men, and just different forms of African American root work, I guess. And she, you know, documented it and wrote about it. And, you know, unfortunately, Zora did not make a lot of money from her work while she was alive, and did die very poor and mostly forgotten. But there was a revival of her works. I want to say Oprah had like a lot to do with that too. But there was a revival of her works because I know like Alice Walker, several people found her works who are prominent writers and distinguished Black women in our time, and they helped make it well known for us, which is why we now, you know, regard her as a great writer. Even people, you know, who have nothing to do with, you know, root working or, you know, conjure or anything of that nature, have you know, they enjoy her works because they're so timeless and well written. So she's somebody who's definitely a master of words, and I think, you know, studying poetry and writings of our ancestors is an excellent way not only to communicate like with them and connect with them, but also to help hone your own skills. It really does help. And Margaret Walker is the other ancestor in this category. We have elders, 4 elders for this one: Maya Angelou, Toni Morrison, Camellia Bra, and Nikki Giovanni. I know Nikki Giovanni is super popular, and we always see, I don't know, I always see her quotes on Instagram. People love to quote Nikki Giovanni on Instagram for sure. Contemporaries: Edwidge Danticat and Jessica Caremore. And we're going to read later more about each of these people. That's in the back around page 390, or a little before that actually, for Sacred Words. But she has written in the back of the book who everybody is and a little biography of each person, so you're not left wondering, which I didn't know for a long time. I remember first time I read this book and I was like, wow, like she really didn't even say who they are. She just listed a bunch of names at the front. But it's in the back. There's little biographies for each person. So page 143, There is a picture of what should be on your altar. We made the womb altar mojo bag so that you wouldn't necessarily have to make a whole new altar for your womb journey, you know, especially if you don't have room in your home for yet another altar. If you have not made one of those yet, you should go back to the very first video and just do that. Or I think it was the first one, or was it the second one of this year? I'm not even sure. It's clearly labeled, whichever one it is very clearly labeled mojo bag, womb altar mojo bag. And that way you can, make a sacred space for you to come in and connect with. But she does say yellow is the color. So if you want to put something yellow on your mojo bag, tie a yellow ribbon around it, tie a yellow ribbon on yourself. Find some way to incorporate yellow into your life for the next month. That will be the power color. And the oil is eucalyptus. It's eucalyptus. So here we are, page 144. The gateway element of words is air, because, right, we have our lungs, we're have air coming out, we're speaking. In the beginning, there was the Word, and the Word began in Nu, the womb, the first primordial waters. The sacred words rule the throat center. The sacred words initiation eliminates communication problems and blocks in the expression of your creativity. It eradicates the expression of destructive, debilitating words that lessen self and others. The sacred words initiation gives you the power to communicate honestly, creatively, and holistically throughout every aspect of your life. The sacred words initiation teaches you to speak words that build, rejuvenate, and heal self and others. Gateway 1 Sacred Words works will help you to eliminate sacred word blockages, thyroid problems, bronchitis, throat blockages, laryngitis. The spiritual exercises of ascension are to be performed daily. They will awaken your inner gateways of divinity so that you may come to your full sacred center. So then we're going to, I'll read this part for the spiritual bath. It's eucalyptus essential oils, which eucalyptus is healing for the respiratory system and the throat. It attunes you to the power of Tahuti, the guardian of the spoken word, promotes honest, reliable, and successful communication or creative expression. Since eucalyptus is a strong essence, use it very sparingly, 1 or 2 drops only on the body. When bathing, 4 to 6 drops in the bath water. Don't add the oil until the bathtub is almost full. I'm pretty sure I think that's a safety warning, probably more than anything. The altar, your sacred altar, is set up according to your religious beliefs. Sit quietly or meditatively before your altar, on the floor, on the pillow, or on a chair. Add a few drops of eucalyptus to your baptism bowl on your altar. Sprinkle a few drops around your prayer space. Anoint with eucalyptus. Select only pure essential oils. Use this to anoint your crown, your forehead, your heart, the womb area, or the body temple gateway of supreme spirituality is your forehead. Your heart, the body temple gateway of compassion and divine love. Your womb area, the bottoms of your feet to spiritually align yourself to step out in power, promise, and faith. The palms of your hands to make everything you touch become more sacred. Anoint your throat to support sacred communication and to heal all energy blockages at the throat center. So that is basically what you can be doing before you start your prayers, before you talk with your ancestors, before you do a divination in regards to whatever it is you're going through. These are small sacred rituals that you just incorporate into your everyday life. And so, you know, in this case, you would just have a bowl of water that, you know, you've spoken blessings over, maybe mixed the oils into, or, you know, what was I going to say? It can be rainwater, it can be, you know, Rose of Jericho water if it's like a serious situation. I mean, there's a lot of options, right? So you would just make a small bowl and you would have your mojo bag next to it. Sprinkle some water around yourself, sprinkle some water on your bag, and, you know, anoint yourself, and then, you know, talk to your ancestors. It's just a small ritual, but it will help you get into the zone and get into the energy of connecting with the spiritual realm. Next, we are opening the gateway. Sacred and divine Tahuti, spiritual guardian of the gateway of sacred words. Please accept my deepest gratitude for your healing presence on my altar and in my life. Thank you for your guidance and inspiration, for your love and blessings, and please accept my love and blessings in return. Katapu. All praise and adoration to the spiritual guardian Tahuti, the protector of the sacred word and divine intelligence. Ashe. All praise and adoration to the ancestors, mothers of the sacred word, Zora Neale Hurston and Margaret Walker. Ashe. All praise and adoration for the elders of the sacred word, Maya Angelou, Toni Morrison, Camellia Bra, and Nikki Giovanni. Ashe. All praise and adoration to my divine self and my contemporary divine sisters, Edwidge Danticat and Jessica Care Moore, who honor the sacred word. Ashe. Ancestors, assist us in speaking Hekawu, words of power. May our words be anointed. May our words not damage a soul. Ancestors, help us to speak words that heal, words that empower, words that build, words that transform. Help us guard our words so no venom passes our lips and no destruction results from our speech. Rather, may our words impart light to souls who are seeking your face. If my words show me to be out of divine right order, may my mind and mouth be cleansed. Help us to not speak that break down the divine in us or in our sisters or brothers, our mates, our children, our elders, or our ancestors. Ancestors, place words upon our lips that make our voice disperse sacred medicine. May our words be lotus blossoms that encourage all the souls that we meet to reach for greater heights. May our words speak with your breath and sing your sweet song of life. Because of the words and the evolved tones that we utter, May goodness follow us all the days of our life. I am a sacred woman. 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 Ashe. We're going to do our fire breathing. And we're going to do, she says we began with 50 to 100 breaths in Gateway 0. We moved to 200 breaths in Gateway 1. We did it. All right, so if you're not used to this, definitely take it slow. Do 50 to start, see how you feel. Or 100, see how you feel. If you start to feel lightheaded, stop and just breathe deeply, and calm yourself and let yourself get in the zone, because this is just a way to bring the oxygen into the mind. It strengthens the lungs. It it cleanses, because you're rapidly getting this air within you, and it gets you with that lightheadedness, with all the new oxygen in your brain. It gets you prepared to connect better with your spiritual side, and that spiritual work. All right, so I'm gonna open the window just because it has as it's raining, and it had that nice fresh air in here for me. Let me see. My kids are obsessed with that little pan drum I have, and they keep taking it out of here. So I'm like, I don't even have that in here to help me. So I think I'll mark every increments of 50. We'll see how we do. Whereas we start with 3 cleansing breaths, deep breaths. Drink some water before we start. is also something that you should be trying to practice every day. Doing 200 every day when you do your prayers, your altar work, just, those brief rituals that add up together to be that time that you spend daily on yourself, spiritually. I also think I forgot to say, when you're breathing in, your stomach should be going out. When you're breathing out, your stomach should be going in. So you're breathing in, filling yourself with oxygen, breathing out, you're emptying yourself. Yeah. So again, it's recommended that you drink eucalyptus herbal tea to help open the throat, center, enhance clear expression and creativity. Use this for at least 7 days to fully benefit of tuning into a gateway one, right? But we're doing it for the whole time. So use 1 tea bag to 1 cup of water, boil in glass, clay, or stainless steel pot. Turn off, add tea to steep before or after your morning bath or a sacred shower. Strain herbs from the water, then drink with joy and peace as you breathe between sips and settle into easy contemplation and reflection. The flower essences of this gateway also include, so if let's say you don't have eucalyptus oil, or you don't feel like you need to be buying hella eucalyptus things, you're going to use calendula, which helps you contact the healing power of the word, using words as a positive healing force. I think calendula is also smokable. Just saying. I know that a lot of people use herbs in the way of, they'll make little herbal cigarettes, and these little herbal cigarettes, of course, don't have tobacco, which is used as a sacred for sacred smoke, for sacred healing. Many people's ancestors, especially if your ancestors come from the Americas, or have hung out at any time in the Americas, it's been a sacred ritual. However, I'm gonna say, especially for the sake of your lungs, your throat, a bunch of other things, you should not be addicted to tobacco, smoking it daily, using it to relieve, different ailments that you are having, because it just creates a lot more once you're at that stage. Like, if you use tobacco, like, I recommend you use, loose leaf, and use it sparingly, definitely. And it's okay to give to your ancestors, give it. But I mean, for the sake of the health of sacred womanhood, I'm not going to endorse tobacco usage. But people do smoke different herbs for different reasons as well. And I know the act of smoking can really center people, bring people back into what they're doing. And of course, there's different effects for different herbs, so you have to be careful. But anyways, calendula, that reminded me of that. The next one is cosmos. Speaking with clarity and depth when speech tends to be too rapid or inarticulate. So if you have that issue, it's spelled COSMOS, cosmos, exactly how I said it. Snapdragon addresses issues of lashing out using biting or cutting words, supports emotionally balanced communication. And keep in mind, if you end up using this herb, or one of these herbs, you're like, that one really speaks to me in my situation, and you get yourself some, that you can also use to sprinkle in your bath instead of the eucalyptus or whatever it is that you didn't buy. Heather addresses problems of self-absorption, excessively talking about one's own problems, especially if you have that issue of people tell you about things and your automatic response is to tell them about the time you did something similar, or you turn it into a suffering contest, or, there's like a bunch of, different ailments that come with that excessive talking about yourself, that excessive self-absorption, that inability even to look up outside of yourself. And if you recognize that you kind of have this issue, you don't really know how to converse with people without doing this, or be around people without doing this. And I'm a Leo, so I definitely, struggle with that. Then this is something that you can be adding to, your sacred ritual. You can be sprinkling heather around your womb altar mojo bag, or your prayer space, and meditating with the herb, and using it, for different spiritual effects, keeping it on your altar so that it's charging, and then using it for your tea, if you have not put it on the floor, or using it for your bath, or using it for other things. Let me see, where was I? Larch, Larch, confidence, heals the throat, communication, and creativity. She says also, following the diet, the diet helps also reduce mucus when you're not having so much dairy, especially, and meat. You don't have as much mucus, so severely cutting back, making sure you're not eating meat and dairy at every meal is crucial. Again, I'm not saying, she's not even saying, she even said it in her book, that you can choose to just reduce, and that severely helps like your health. When you recognize, because like when I first read this book, I remember looking at it and thinking, wow, like I really grew up eating cheese at like every meal. I swear. I feel like, my like breakfast had had like dairy in it, had eggs, it had, cream cheese, something. My lunch, I always had like a slice of cheese on my sandwich, or a yogurt, or something like that. My snacks, I had Cheez-Its, goldfish, like it was absurd when I really looked at it, how much dairy I had consumed like as a child growing up. Obviously my parents didn't probably even notice. They thought they were like, oh, it's like a well-rounded meal. You know what I mean? And it was fine for what it was. But I mean, at the same time, like when we start to look at our eating habits, we can really recognize, I think a lot of people can recognize improvement could definitely be made in like a lot of these habits. We don't even realize we're doing it. We don't even realize every time we're hungry, we're reaching for dairy. Every time we're hungry, we're reaching for meat or something like that. All right, so we have our sacred word journal writing that's done after you have done internal cleansing. So she says enema. There's also, if you do take the diet seriously, then I recommend you can do things like taking the herbs that really detox you and cleanse you out. But if you're not, if you're still eating whatever you want, then that's like an enema also can help you. It just be making war on yourself if you're not making, changes while you're doing things like detoxing, enemas, that type of thing. Let me see. We're almost through the beginning part here. The best time to receive your spiritually inspired written work is after you've completed your altar work, before the hours of 4 and 6 a.m. Keep your journal in a special pen by or altar to work with the power, force, and stillness at the coming of dawn, the hour of Nevet Het. So I actually tried waking up like early a couple days ago to try and start myself, and of course that night randomly my husband pulled an all-nighter with his friends. Like I got up at 4 a.m. They're still going strong playing video games. I was like, the one time I try and wake up early. So that's my goal for this week, is definitely to try and wake up a little earlier and try and get some womb journal stuff written down. And I know I have a post on Patreon that, you know what it is? I had forgotten from last week. I was supposed to make a post about the dry food offering. I don't know if any of you did it, But if you didn't, it's okay. I'm going to make that today probably. All right. So, anyways, back to the journal. Affirm your daily life. Write in your journal at this time any thoughts, activities, experiences, interactions that present themselves. You can also write down your visions, desires, dreams, and affirmations that will help you draw on these resources, and so that you'll be able to draw on these resources when help and support are most needed. So, like I said, I have a post that gives some examples of what you can be writing. But you can, make your womb journal really personal, make it yours. One thing I like to do is just to write out a bunch of, questions and prompts at the top of each page. And that way I like, whenever I have my womb journal with me, I can pull out and just do something in, you know what I mean? And answer a question or, draw a picture or whatever it is that I want to do in my womb journal. Sanab Freedom Shawl. I do not have what I was going to show you for last gateway, but anyways, I'll read what it is and you can make sure you're doing yours. Choose a new piece of cloth that corresponds to the gateway color to add to your Sanab Freedom Shawl or quilt. This cloth will serve as a mini canvas to represent your experience in the gateway you are working in. Also collect meaningful symbols that can be added to your shawl or quilt in applique or patchwork style. You can add stones, other natural objects, collectibles, family heirlooms, photographs that have been printed on fabric, or any other significant items that embody the essence of your experience. Give your imagination free rein and let your craftswoman spirit tell your story. For more about the quilt or shawl, go to page 127 to 129. So quilting, I think, is like a lot, but if you're able to do that, I definitely think making the art project for each gateway is a way to honor, your journey, give it a form, give it, a space, and really have something that you can look at, and cherish. So that's that one is but I'm going to show you my one from last gateway next time. And then I also have to make another thing for this gateway. All right, so our tools. Use a but the reason I'm trying to be vague about what you can make is it can be a quilt, it can be a crochet square, it can be a painting or some form of artwork. Oh no, I'm like okay. I know, cheese. Let me see. Hey, Leo season. No, I'm kidding. But for real, yeah, no. I feel you with that. I feel you with the cheese. I'm a cheese person. I'm like, and I make like a good mac and cheese. Okay, and like sometimes I just really want my mac and cheese. I'm still trying to find a vegan mac and cheese that gives that same level of like comfort and creamy, But my face, screaming, anyways. But yeah, I know it would be. I wish I had a DVD. You're saying you wish you had a DVD of me doing this stuff. I wish I had a DVD of somebody, so I could follow along. I wish somebody else did this too, so that I could also watch theirs. That would be fun. I just dropped something. I said something dropped. I don't know. Knocked something off the altar. Okay, so the sacred tools for this gateway is a recorder or a camera, and this can be just on your phone. But this is one of the ways that you can help your how you talk is by recording yourself and then looking at it later and seeing what you like, you don't like, what you think you need improvements on, and practicing. And I think also practicing recording yourself, probably like acting or doing something, reciting like a poem or something of that nature is another way to really enhance your sacred words. But that's going to be in daily spiritual practices, I believe. All right, so the sacred reminders throughout the week, observe closely the wisdom presented for the gateway you're in. For maximum results, live freely and harmonize the various systems of wellness, and practice the 7-day transformative work that's at the end of the gateway. Let me see what. Oh, we're supposed to be going all the way to page 140. Oh, we're almost there. That's where we're at. Page 148. Making the words sacred. Oh, and we forgot to say a small sacred prayer here. Ancestors, help me to speak sacred words for myself and to all others. There you go. And that can be just, a prayer that you tell yourself throughout this month as you're working on the words that you're speaking to yourself, speaking to your partner, speaking to your children, speaking to, whoever it is. And I think, especially honing in on where it is we need to improve helps, because we can, I think people, in general, it often comes that people are meaner to the people and lash out to the people that are closest. And because they can, or because they're accessible, or they know that person will forgive them. But working on being able to control our words and our thoughts and have that discipline is really what we're working on this month too. Okay, page 148, making the word sacred. Thousands of years ago, on the walls of their temples, our ancient African Nile Valley ancestors summed up who we were and who we are by nature in the language of Mtu Ntur, the words of the divine, revealing to us the depths of our sacredness. Nukpu nuku amiku kemem seperu em Ntur heyu. Nuk ua em enu and ku amuku. I am a shining being and a dweller in light, who has been created and who came into existence from the limbs of Ntur, the creator. I am one of these lights dwelling in the light. This is the words that we listened to in that one song. Let me see if I can. Let me see. Well, I'll keep reading while I try and find them. Repeat these words throughout the day as you become one with your sacred self. As you speak the sacred words, know that no one can ever take your light away from you, for the source of your light is Ntur, the blessed eternal creator. This is a CD by, what are their names? The Roseki Arts Temple. This is what I just read, right?
Amen re tuaita kutatinen. Luku luku amiku kemen keperu.
But this is the Sunrise Ritual CD by Red Kit, Kajara Nevitet. And I remember I just was on the Roseki Arts Temple website. I saw this, and I got their CDs because it was for the circle. It was for the sister circle. So if we embrace our true sacredness and allow our light to shine, then this suffering earth on which we live shall be healed. With the clarity and the strength of the Creator from which you come, let no place, person, or thing prevent your sacred light from coming forth. Note, for those who would like to speak in the original language of our ancestors as you read through the 9 gateways, the words for sacred woman are Nterd Hamit. I am a sacred woman is Nukpu Nterd Hamit. So you can say Nukpu and say your name. You can say Nukpu anything as an affirmation, right? So you can say you know any of the affirmations that are positive, maybe word specific or womb specific, and use those sacred words in your prayers. A sacred woman is a spiritual woman who relies completely and absolutely on the Creator for all things. A sacred woman is a spirit moving. She is natural, pure in her actions, thoughts, ways, and words. She resides in the house of healing and transformation, inspired by Nevitt Het. All who enter her aura are healed by her presence. When a sacred woman enters a room, the vibrations of the people in the room are raised and filled with light. Due to her sacredness, wherever she walks, the ground becomes sacred. She holds no anger, revenge, rage, or strife. In her spirit, she carries the ancient African feather of Mot, which symbolizes truth, justice, and righteousness, indicating that her heart is as light as a feather. So this is the centered state that we are trying to achieve. Like, is it possible to be completely perfect 1,000,000,000% of the time? No, obviously not. But this is generally what we're striving to achieve as sacred women. We're trying to achieve the ability to, control our energy as we walk into the room, not allow others' energy to affect our energy like that, able to operate on a higher plane to the point where you are not bogged down by things and you see things with clarity. It's not you're so aloof and removed that you don't even know what's going on, or you're making really questionable decisions morally and things like that. Like you're so in tune with morals. You're so in tune with how your energy is, how your energy is in the space that you're in, that you're able to make decisions accordingly. So that's staying in your center, being in your spiritual center is the main goal, and something that we'll be talking about a lot this year. Where was I? Free of malice and disease, the sacred woman feels no pain. Her developed spiritual wisdom means that she allows absolutely nothing to disturb her peace, calm, and grace. She moves in confidence, unfazed by earthly confusion, illusion, or madness, because she is certain that the Most High moves and breathes through her being. Throughout this sacred woman's journey of life, she heals all things. So I feel like that right there was just a bunch of affirmations, that you can be saying about yourself. You can be writing in your womb journal. When I enter a room, the vibrations of the people in the room are raised and filled with light. That is something that you can, repeat during a meditation. Just change it all to I statements. Due to my sacredness, wherever I walk, the ground becomes sacred. I hold no anger, revenge, rage, or strife. In my spirit, I carry the ancient African feather of Mot, which symbolizes truth, justice, and righteousness, indicating that my heart is as light as a feather. Free from malice and disease, I feel no pain. My developed spiritual wisdom means that I allow absolutely nothing to disturb my peace, calm, and grace. You can just say, I allow absolutely nothing to disturb my peace, calm, and grace. Nothing. Not something, my kids do, not some comment somebody left online, not anything. This disturbs my sense of peace, grace, and calm. So then I move in confidence, unfazed by earthly confusion, illusion, or madness, because I am certain that the Most High moves and breathes through my being. So you could just say, I move in confidence. I am unfazed by earthly confusion, illusion, or madness. I am certain that the Most High moves and breathes through my being. Throughout this sacred woman journey of life, I heal all things. She says a sacred woman is a holy woman, a whole woman. You have this spirit of this moral code that's operating within you, right? And that's why I think even with the differences in root work, I think that these two lifestyles do go very hand in hand, because when you're a sacred woman, it's infused into every movement you make, every choice you make, every decision you make is based on that sense of calm, that sense of grace, that sense of peace, and that sense of staying spiritually centered and not being affected by how everybody else is acting. The same qualities really help you in your root work. Being somebody who infuses the spirit into everything you do, into how you clean your house, into how you live your life, and you dress and you purchase things, and you decorate, and all of those other little things. So it's hand in hand. This much in the same way, that all of our ancestors kind of collectively have done this. It's kind of, I think, a very African thing. I've noticed is that a lot of the religions have this aspect of, a lot of African spiritualities and Black spiritualities have this aspect of infusing the spirituality into every movement we make in part of our being. And it's just a lifestyle. It's just, we're very spiritual peoples. Let's see. A sacred woman is a spiritual woman who is inter conscious, God conscious, Allah conscious, Oludumare conscious, Jehovah conscious, Krishna conscious, Yeshua conscious, grandmother, grandfather spirit conscious. A sacred woman is filled with the light and love of the Most High Supreme, and she shares this love brilliantly with whoever enters her life walk. So that's what she's saying there, is like a sacred woman can be any type of person, whatever your spirituality is, let it feed you, let it emanate through you. Even if your spirituality is grandmother, grandfather spirit that you work with, you work with the ancestors. Let that fuel you and bring you a light and joy from within you that emanates out and creates a powerful and penetrable aura around you of energy to help you stay in your center. And that same energy, when it touches other people, inspires them, even though they may not quite understand your spirituality or what it is that is fueling you. They do understand that it's beautiful and that it is affecting them in a positive way. Sacred word affirmations. As a sacred African woman, I stand firm and empowered with the guidance and blessings of my elders, ancestors, and guardian spirits, my divine sacred inter, I speak myself into power. So this is when you sit down with your womb altar mojo bag one day. This is one of the things that you can be practicing. Recite these principles out loud daily and claim the power of the word to strengthen your divine role as a sacred woman as you bring a healing spirit forth on every plane of existence. I am a sacred woman filled with the spirit of the Most High Supreme. I am a sacred woman full of love and grace. I am a sacred woman, pure in state. I am a sacred woman, spreading healing across the land. I am a sacred woman, radiant and bright. I am a sacred woman. I am a sacred woman, moved only in the spirit. I am a sacred woman, standing tall and strong. I am a sacred woman, healthy, wealthy, and all wise. I am a sacred woman, working magic from my kitchen healing laboratory. I am a sacred woman, a natural beauty in all ways. I am a sacred woman, holding no malice for man or woman. I am a sacred woman, empowered with freedom and harmony. I am a sacred woman, working skillfully with nature's four elements, calling air, fire, water, and earth. Journey with me as we work, restoring harmony upon the earth. So if you have the book, this is page 148. You can just open it up and recite this. If you don't have the book, you should definitely write out a page of affirmations that work for you, that and even if you do have the book, you can make your own set that speaks specifically to your situation and to your greatest needs, the gateway that, because you'll find, some gateways seem so easy, and it's like, oh, this is all just a breeze and I love every moment of it. And then you'll find some gateways you're like, that I know I struggle with. Words I definitely with, not just in the sense of talking about myself, but in the sense of what are my other issues with words. I know, like, when I first started the journey with Queen, when I started that journey, I remember sacred words and sacred relationships, specifically with my birth mother, were the two gateways that I felt like I needed to work on the most, that I struggled with the most. Just, keeping my tone in check, keeping my words in check. I think I still struggle with that one. And sacred words is in my top 3 of gateways that I need to work on this year. I would say it's number 3 though. I have other ones that I want to work on, or I think I need to focus on a little bit more. But it's up there because it's so important, and so difficult. Sometimes it's so difficult to, like, check yourself, check your tone, check, think twice, you know what I mean? And then, you feel like it's difficult to do the timing, when you're starting to think twice about a lot of stuff, and you're like, is that a sacred woman? It starts to make you really be conscious of your words and what they're saying. And so think about the affirmations you say daily for your womb, because you can speak yourself into wellness the same way you can speak yourself into sickness. Always remember that. So even if you had a traumatic day, you can change the words around to make your life work for you. Take the higher road. Say, that was a very challenging day, but I'm victorious because I'm still standing. We choose the words we say, and we must recognize the real power they carry. There could have been a fire in your house, but you chose to say, I still have my life. I have the lives of my children. Give praise that there's something to still give praise about. Suppose you had your womb removed. What words of power could be affirming? I still have my womb spirit. I still have my life. I still have the ability to create. I think that the key words there was definitely I still have. Once you experience that tragedy, once you experience a loss of objects or friends, family, trust, you can say, I still have this thing. I still have the ability to do this, the means to do that. I still have this person, this place, this spirit, this energy. Always look for the higher road. Always look for the word that will help to recharge your spirit, because that's the sacred word. That part I think is so powerful. Always look for words that will help to recharge your spirit, because those words are the sacred words. Those words are the ones that are going to help you get through that situation that in the moment you're not even sure if you can make it through. You recharge yourself with your very words. You give yourself that boost to go to the next level. You choose and create your world through the words that you speak. So if you're constantly saying words like, I don't have any, I'm tired, I can't make it, my needs aren't being met, I don't have anybody, you carry all that energy in your aura. Words like this are weighing your spirit down and wearing you down. When you are worn down, disease then can enter into your energy field and attack your sacred womb. So we have to protect our sacred womb, our sacred seat, by watching our minds. We have to keep our minds up on high, watch the words we speak, and feed our body temple the right words, higher thoughts, and higher foods. One way to do this is to begin being in communication with high queens who are going in the same direction that we're going. We can change ourselves, but it does take time. It takes learning to change your words to reflect the spirit. It takes your continual prayers, your affirmations, and meditations. So in that, we're going to pause for just a second to touch on what she's saying there. Feed our body temple the right words, higher thoughts, and higher food. So in that regard, she's talking about, how we're having conversations. She's talking about who we're, what we're inundating ourselves with, what images, what words, what entertainment. Who are you following on Instagram? Are you following people and images that are not in alignment with what you say that you're interested in, that are, I think, it's so important to think about, like, think about some of the best influencers you see on Instagram. They don't follow a ton of people. They're not just getting like inundated with tons of information from just anybody. They're very specific about, who they follow, what information comes in. They're, specific about what they read, a lot of them. They're specific about, what information they give themselves. And I think we should hold ourselves in that same esteem, even if it's just to be making our own personal lives a better place. I challenge you to go onto your Instagram and, look at all the people you're following and see people who you're like, I don't need to follow this. I don't need to see this. I don't need to, and I'm not just saying like, go to like World Star or whatever, but there's sometimes just the random people we follow will be posting toxic thoughts or just random stuff that is just not in any sort of alignment with, what your journey is. Like, on my Instagram, my personal Instagram, on that one, I try and only follow people who I feel like they're going where I'm going. They're trying to go where I'm going. They are where I'm trying to get. I try and follow people who inspire me on my journey. They speak inspirational words. It's the same with this channel. On my personal YouTube, I'll follow, whatever for entertainment. I follow Lovely Tea. I follow, all sorts of random, channels because it's for entertainment. But this YouTube, I only follow people who people who could perhaps help me on my journey, who could inspire me, who help me in that way, so that in that way I have a space where I can go to just focus on that spiritual activity, to just see images that are going to be in alignment with what I'm trying to do myself. And that's what she means by communicating with high queens who are going in the same direction as you. You don't necessarily have to talk with every single person who inspires you, but you definitely should be trying to surround yourself in your space with people who are, in alignment with this path, because that's, it's just one of the ways that you get somewhere. A lot of people are like, oh, how did they do it, blah blah blah, but when somebody is passionate about something, they surround themselves with that thing. They inundate themselves with it. They learn about it. They talk with people about it. They let other people in on their journey in some way and really get to connecting. They read books. They listen to music. They infuse it into their life. And that's how you're going to do the sacred woman thing, is you're going to make sure that what you're seeing now, we've already learned about the womb, we've learned about the body. Now it's time when we're like, okay, now let's get serious. Who and what needs to be cut off? what show should I probably just stop watching because it was already kind of making me feel anyways. Again, that's a waste of my time. I could be doing this. Who am I following? And I know some people get really offended if you stop following them on social media. And to that, I'm just like, it's not personal, you know what I mean? It doesn't mean I don't like you. I just don't like what you post. I don't want to, I don't want to see your selfies, or I don't want to see you don't like your commentary on things. I don't really like your commentary on certain things or what you choose to post on your social media. So it's not like personal. It doesn't mean you hate the person. It just means, you're at a point where you're trying to surround yourself with a certain type of content, and that person does not post that type of content. That's all it is. I challenge you for the next week to hone or create a space, even if let's say you don't want to, you call out all the people you're following. You definitely make yourself a space that is free of all the things that are not helping you in alignment to your path, and spend time there. Yeah, I had a feeling that was coming. Thankfully, we're almost done. Okay. It takes learning to change your words to reflect the spirit. It takes your continual prayers and your affirmations and meditations. Think of the martial artist. How do they become black belts? Through discipline, through consistency, through constantly working it out, mastering themselves. If they get knocked down, they learn how to fall. And I think that is another thing to add to that is expect to fall. A martial artist doesn't, or any other discipline, a ballerina, a b-boy, like a weightlifter, any sort of athlete, any sort of anybody who is doing those activities, they don't expect to never fall. They don't expect to, I started snowboarding, I never fell, now I'm an Olympian. Like, that's how that works. Like, no, like, even people in the Olympics fall. So, expecting to fall, expect that, it's not going to be perfect. You're going to mess up. There's going to be hiccups. There's going to be things that you bump into that you didn't expect. You're going to backslide. You're going to not be eating really well and then suddenly indulge in fried food for a super amount of time and then feel really guilty about it. Or you're gonna commit yourself not to drink and then drink. You're going to do things that are not in alignment with what you say you want, and that you're gonna fall, you're gonna mess up, even if it's not on purpose. You're gonna mess up. And I think recognizing that you are gonna fall and learning how to fall, learning how to do it with grace, learning how to recover, learning how to pick yourself up after you fall is the important lesson to learn around that you are going to fall. So how do you prepare yourself for when you do? How do you prepare yourself to get back on track? How do you prepare yourself to continue and keep working towards your goals? When I was studying martial arts, it took me months and months and months just to learn how to break a fall. That was so important, how to break a fall with grace so that you didn't break your arms or legs, right? So and that metaphor is so deep, when you think about it felt like I had the rug swept out from under me and I fell completely on my face, or, flew back on my back. Learning how to deal with those little, with those issues, big issues sometimes too, and learning how to fall and not completely shatter yourself, fall and not be completely devastated, sprawling out all over the place, discombobulated. I don't even know if I can recover, because is a way to fall and fail and mess up and, still have some type of grace in the efforts of rectifying the situation. You may drop down, but there's a positive way to drop down and a negative way. Instead of just falling down and out, you say, oh, I'm falling and it's time to rest. That's words telling you it's not time to break down and fall apart. It's a good message from our body telling us it's time to go and get some rest. It may take 15 minutes to talk to your spirit and another 15 minutes to do a womb meditation or womb affirmation. It's a golden time that will come back to you 100-fold. When we speak conscious words, we are speaking ourselves into power, into wellness, into healing. Whenever we think of our womb being whole, we are actually rebuilding it. Whenever you think of your womb being whole, you are actually rebuilding it. It's part of the healing process. We are healing our wombs from all the trauma that we've gone through. That's why our words and thoughts are so powerful. We are always growing from our lessons, our experiences, and every day is a new beginning. There's always a new healing opportunity to look forward to. We are divine by nature. We have been divine from the beginning of time, and we will be for all eternity. All right, so that was the last part for today. Oh, but okay, so another challenge for you besides cleansing up, what you're looking at, is to find a sacred reminder to help you remember to use sacred words. This could be like a veil, it could be a scarf, it could be an oil you anoint to your throat, it can be a necklace. Just some reminder, a small sacred reminder that helps you stay in tune. You can draw on your body with henna or hagwa to help give yourself sacred reminders. Sometimes I dye, the tips of my fingers if I'm doing, we're doing word fasting later, a little later this month. But when I do things like that, it gives me a visual reminder of what my commitment is. And you can use the Adinkra cards, right? The Adinkra symbols, and draw those on yourself as well to help with your journey. And that's a way of using sacred words, sacred symbols, and writing, and Tahuti. Okay, so the last thing I did want to talk to you about was on page 38, all the way back there, because I don't think we talked about it. And this was about sacred time. She said, we must first align our body, mind, and spirit with a new sense of time. When you honor your sacredness, you begin to understand that all time is spiritual. When you live life in a more cosmic, timely, organized fashion, you're more in tune with self, the moon, sun, and stars. Time moves in a circle. It is ongoing. It never ends. Even at the end of life, when we think it's all over, it begins all over again. Our ancestors have said that life is eternal. I'm yesterday, seer of millions of years is my name, traveling along the ways of Haru, the light and the truth. The sacred clock keeps on ticking, so use your time with complete awareness and as much grace and mindfulness as possible to gain the power, clarity, wealth, and oneness in the spirit that comes in the fullness of time. The more you're in tune with and respectful of time, the more you will be blessed by time. We use every bit of time all the time, so use your moments with as much wisdom as you are able. What we do with our time will ultimately determine all of our successes and all of our temptations. Time is filled with all kinds of choices. Please think first to make your choices wisely, for you will live with all your choices, good, bad, for all time. My soul has guided me to dance in the space of time to release the remains of a day gone wrong, or to dance in the space of time in praise because my inner soul was jumping for joy in the midday, or to dance gently and easily because I survived yet another day with grace and ease. So here at this part, so that part I just wanted to read because I think, thinking about utilizing your time wisely, that's something that I struggle with. I know that discipline, that procrastination, I guess. I know a lot of people struggle with that. So thinking of your time as sacred, thinking of utilizing your time in such a way that it blesses you back because you utilize your time so well. Thinking about time as something that you're never going to get back. And so it is a sacred thing, and a sacred element of portioning out your day. And then she also has prayers for the sacred times of the day: sunrise, midday, sunset, and nighttime. This is page 38 again. Within the course of 24 hours, Isis, and her sister Nebet-Het, Nephthys, our ancient African guardians, come forth to greet us at their designated time of the day, help us to maintain our spiritual, physical, emotional, and mental equilibrium, and remind us to use our time in the spirit of Ma'at. All praise to you, Mother, Father, Creator, or the keeper and bestower of all time, the aspect and reflection of the Most High. So in that case, we would say, all praise to you, ancestors, the keepers and bestowers of the time, the aspect and reflection of Most High, divine creator, or ancestors, or you can name a specific ancestor, auntie so-and-so, grandmother, this person. Maybe you speak with, an ancestor that is more well-known, like Harriet Tubman or Miss Zora Neale Hurston. You have helped me to be in harmony with the seasons of time, with the time of day, the time of the moon, the time to eat, the time to fast, the time to rest, the time to rise, the time of my womb cycle, and the time to be intimate and nurtured. May I be in tune with the lessons of time and use it well, and with divine intelligence. May I keep time with ebb and flow of my emotions, so that I am able to maintain inner harmony. Oh, he's talking to her. Okay, so that was a prayer just for sacred time. Then for sunrise, we have adoration to you, Nebet-Het, you who appears between 4 and 6 a.m., the female guardian of the darkest hour before dawn, the balance between night and day. You appear at the earliest morning light, standing as the gatekeeper of this twilight time. Honor to you, Nebet-Het, the lady of the house, sister of Ast, the lady of heaven, for living within us as we tune in to our day coming, that we may carry our house, our body. You have high blood pressure or edema. Essential oils such as cinnamon, lotus, or lavender were used by ancients for anointing and for sweetness. While in the tub, chant your own way to Het Heru, Lady of Amentet, or Het Heru, Lady of the Sunset. Repeat your Hesi over and over again as the heat and salt water and oils melt away your challenges that you experience throughout the day. So those affirmations I said earlier, that would be perfect for this bath, to just really sit in there and chant a powerful affirmation about yourself or about your ancestors, to connect. While surrounded by the ocean of water in your sacred tub, release all stress so that you may enter the night in serenity. If tonight is the night you choose for divine lovemaking, allow Het Heru's beauty to come through you after that bath. So that would be a really powerful bath ritual to do before an important date, or before if you really need to, communicate with your mate or partner in that way. Taking a sacred spiritual bath to center yourself, to bring up your confidence, to bring out your beauty, your radiance, that sacred energy, is an excellent way to start a Het Heru, glamour, beauty, spiritual bath. And it can be a shower if you don't have a bath, having the water pour over you. Have a bowl of these essential oils and stuff to pour over your head, and that way you'll be able to have this sense surrounding you as well in that situation. Finally, we have the nighttime prayer. All praise to you, Mother Newt. Help me to look. And these are just, not something that you necessarily have to say, but just examples of how you can be speaking. How you can. This is an excellent month to be practicing speaking prayers out loud, saying a prayer just off the top of your head. Just practicing being able to do that, being able to use that commanding voice, right? That we often have heard elders use when they commit Jesus Christ and call out passages from the Bible and such. You know, we've all seen that happen where somebody has that commanding voice, and that is exactly the voice that, you know, we should be having for our prayers with the ancestors. So this month we should practice, you know, not only speaking out loud and speaking to the camera and all that stuff, but practice saying your prayers, practice saying them out loud, talking to your ancestors out loud, and getting comfortable with that, and getting comfortable with the language, and using this to, you know, start and help you, but finding ultimately your own way of speaking that is true to you and genuine. So help me to look to you, the mother of our day star, the sun and the stars of night, as they glide through the sky to maintain my inner cosmic clock. Help me to use time wisely, to respect the time given to me, and to respect the time of others. Creator, help me to see time as being as precious as my children. Help me to become more aware of aware that time is to be cherished and well spent, like the good times that I shared with my extended family. All I have is right now, this moment to make my life work. And this time right now is mine, and I give thanks. Help me to think before I set time and use time, for I will never again get this time back. May I use my time to heal, to build, to love, and to reason. Ancestors, as the time of my age increases, may I be made glad, for only through many years of living does wisdom grow. Knowledge is my flower, and may my time be filled with memories of thankfulness and healthy seeds sown. Let me never waste my time, for it does not stand still even for a moment. Help me remember that cycles come and go, and no matter how hard things are right now, or how good they may be, nothing remains the same. Creator, help me remember that when the sun goes down and night falls, in the hours of despair or quietude, to simply go with the flow, for time will have its way. Neither grief nor sweet solitude lasts forever. In time, the sun will rise again, and joy and peace shall once again prevail. Ancestors, when my time is in this life is all used up and my clock finally stops, may I look back upon my life and reflect the lessons that have been well learned, and that the moments of my life are filled with goodness. May I have a legacy of time well spent, and when I step over to the other side, to the realm of the ancestors, may I keep celestial. So there we go. She also has a sacred clock on the next page, which goes into that a little more in detail. But I think that, you know, overall, is just an important reminder of what we're supposed to be focusing on in this gateway, that prayer, using prayer to help us spend our time wisely and get all these things done that we know we're trying to do. The last thing for today is we have been skipping our Adinkra cards and Mont studies last time because it just was taking, the circle just took way too long. And the time before that, I forgot. So, let me see. So as always, I recommend this Adinkra card deck from adinkraliving.com. I think it's a really good way to learn, and I think that the Adinkra symbols are important to learn. All right, so I just saw that one too. Okay. So we have 3 to discuss today. All right, so our first one is Ajo. Okay, get a little closer to you guys here. So, Ajo means calmness. It's a symbol of peace, calmness, and spiritual tranquility. Um, Take a time out. There's no valor and martyrdom. You are forgotten this. Take time to recharge your spirit and reflect. Don't underestimate how important it is to take care of you. Fix your own mask before helping others. Create and sustain a routine for self care. And don't forget you. So it's a peace, tranquil, and quiet. So these are symbols that you can incorporate into your meditation, into your sacred journey. Using henna and hagwa to put these sacred symbols on your body for a slightly permanent amount of time is another way that you can really help enhance your journey and make these sacred touches. Next is, should I I'll talk about the law that was supposed to be taught on that day too. Was I will not act with violence. Remember that they are a moral code. They are to inspire you to follow the moral path, depending on the situation, right? Again, we remember that, the situations are so nuanced that sometimes things can go backwards or be, this and that. But overall, when you have this moral code, it is supposed to be something that keeps you guilt-free. It keeps you on the right path. It keeps you in your center. There's really, no time. And when we think of violence too, you have to consider that, it's a very often impulsive. That's what that word implies, is often an impulsivity, going way too far. And those are things that happen when you don't stop to think about what it is you're doing, where it is, long-term consequences of your reaction to a situation. I think, like road rage is a prime example of people who have forgotten, or who have chosen not to live without violence, because it shows, that it's such a state where violence is literally waiting to, spill out. Or and this occurs in like so many other situations too, but that's just one that I think, in a lot of situations, people, especially when you see like road rage compilation videos, and like people are like getting upset about like the craziest things, and sometimes the people who are videotaping are the ones who are, in the wrong in this situation. And it just shows, how easy it is to get caught up emotionally in a situation that long term isn't even going to affect you like that. So but then the long-term consequences of being violent are way, way longer. Keep your hands to yourself. That's what that law means. All right, so we have our next one was Akoben, the war horn, a symbol of vigilance and wariness. The Akoben is a horn used to sound a battle cry. Vigilance, wariness. How ready are you to deal with an unexpected crisis? Get your house in order. Your survival depends on it. This reminds you that you need to be ever ready and vigilant to lessen the impact of an unexpected occurrence. Additional meanings for this symbol: a call to arms, a readiness and preparedness for action or battle, urging you to stay alert. The law we were supposed to look at last week was I will not kill. I think this is an important law as well to remember, again, from the moral standpoint of, I mean, in this case, they are talking about humanity, not humans, not murdering. I think that one's pretty self-explanatory of why we should not be trying to murder people. But I mean, I think sometimes too we can think of it in less of like just the like don't kill your neighbors, but also in the sense of like I know sometimes I see people um like Donald Trump would get assassinated or something like that. You know, like I saw that post that was like, oh, we don't assassinate presidents anymore, like what the good old days. And like I think, you know, in that case, like it does sound funny and it is like a lovely thought or whatever. But at the end of the day, we have to remember like being violent and doing something like killing somebody often will only make things worse. Because I mean, logically, if Trump died, who's the next in line? I mean, you'd have to kill Pence, then you'd have to kill everybody else. You know what I mean? It just there's no healing to that. There's no it wouldn't solve anything long term, really. And like I think that's a prime example of just how murdering moralistically it doesn't really solve things, and it really death just begets more death. It's just like how Queen says, you know, the more things you eat that bleed, the more your womb bleeds. All these things really correlate, and everything is so cyclical. It's the reason you can't just go outside and kill all the ants. The whole world would die. You know what I mean? You can't just go out and wipe out certain species because the ecosystem needs all those species working together to create a whole and to keep things moving. You can't just be like, oh, well, we're going to just kill all this type of person, or but if we just kill this person, everything will be fine again. It just sadly it just doesn't work that way. Everything is connected. That person has family and friends, and you just made a bunch of enemies. Sad but true. Um, let's see. And then now we're all caught up. We need to go back to the one that is. Let's see. All right. The last one we'll study for today is the one for today. It's Akoma heart. The heart is a universal symbol representing love in all of its forms. So there you go. The heart is an Adinkra symbol. Let's see. Akoma is patience, tolerance. Your heart is the purest compass in mapping your joy. Are you listening to what it tells you? Do you know what the voice of your heart sounds like? That reminds me of, you know, we were just listening to the voice of the womb, and do you know what your womb sounds like? Do you know what your womb is saying? And that's something I also talk about in Punani Proverbs, the womb healing workbook I wrote, was, you know, really focusing in on like what is my womb saying when it does this. Like everybody's womb has a different, you know, way of speaking. You know, there are times when randomly, you know, your womb will move, or you know, catch your attention in some way. You know, have a quick cramp or something, and it will be saying something to you. Like for example, I know pretty much right on the dot of when, because I use a diaphragm, and after you have sex with a diaphragm, you have to keep it in for like 6 hours. My womb will literally tell me when that 6 hours is up. Like probably within 5 minutes of that 6 hours being up, I'll feel like my womb kind of is feeling funny, and I'll know, guaranteed, I'll go look at the clock and it will be time to take out the diaphragm, because my womb just kind of knows these things. Or, you know, sometimes my womb will start to feel this slight strangeness, and I'll know like it doesn't hurt anymore, thank goodness, because it used to be like a painful tightness several days in advance. But now my womb will just start to make little movements in it that I'll know that my period is coming, or I'll know that, you know, I should do this or I should do that, or maybe like my clothes are too tight. Like I know for sure now, I used to be able to wear tight clothes all the time. Now if I wear something across my womb area that's too tight, or like, you know, it is not happy. I have to hear from it all day, you know? So hearing those little parts of your womb and learning how to hone in on what they are, and maybe even just write it down so you can remember, so you can look back later, like, has this happened before? Did like, oh yeah, it looks like every time I'm about to start my period, my like left side of my womb or my right side of my womb kind of aches a little bit. You know what I mean? My fallopian tube on this side aches a little bit. So you start to understand the voice of your womb, and of course the voice of your heart is a very similar concept of listening and respecting and interpreting appropriately. So the last what was I going to say? The last law that we're going to talk about today is I will not act unjustly. So acting is, I think, a very, I guess it's like basically saying, you know, I will act morally. I will act in ways that are fair, that are not necessarily trying to lift myself up just because or exclude other people just because, but that's based in fairness. And fairness doesn't always look exactly the same. Justice doesn't always look, it's not always so cut and dry, especially because there's always so many different situations. So I think when it comes to acting just in your own life, having the skill to really look at the whole situation, having the skill to really everything from an empathetic point of view. I like finding a way to empathize with this person, and this person, see where everybody comes from. And for some people, that's a really easy thing to do, is like, I totally understand this person and I totally understand them. And you know, finding the ways to totally understand them, and then find that just answer that sits in between all of it. Because sometimes the just answer isn't cutting it in three and giving one piece to everybody. Some people have no claim, you know what I mean? Some people have, you know, lost the privilege. So, you know, there's nuance to every situation. And when it comes to the law of asking us to act with justice, to not do anything that is unjust, you know, it's asking us to use that discernment, asking us to use our intuition and hone our intuition to know what, in this situation, with all the evidence that I've been given, how can I act the most just in this situation? And that should really be our goal every single time for all of our interactions. All right, so that is all that we're doing for today. Next time will be, my goal for sister circles is usually to have them be about 45 minutes to an hour long. So I'm really, you know, like last time that 3-hour circle was like, I was like dying, y'all. I was dying. But we have to get through. We have to get through Gateway 1 or Gateway 0 to get to all of the other gateways. So it has to be done. But anyways, I hope you enjoy this circle. I hope you find a way to, you know, look at, to remind yourself symbolically of your sacred words this week. Just try and become more aware of your words, become more aware of what you're speaking, attempt to be silent before you know, what you're going to say, or think about what's going on, or even attempt saying nothing. Sometimes, you know, use your discernment when you don't even really need to say anything or use your words. And then also check out your social media, unfriend some people, block some people. No, you don't have to block people. But I mean, if it's necessary, block some people, block some pages, unfollow some pages. As you're scrolling through your timeline, unfollow some things that if you're seeing something where you're like, that's not where I'm going anymore. Go ahead and find people who inspire you and follow those people. Make them so they're people who you see first or get notified when you see them. So that also helps remind you on another level to keep going, that, you know, your path is out there, that, you know, your moment that's like this. Because, you know, a lot of these people, a lot of these influencers, they'll take these inspirational pics, and those shouldn't be to make you feel bad, like, oh, my life doesn't look like that. It should make you feel inspired, like, you know, this is what I'm working towards, or this is my goal. You know, surround yourself with images of your goal. Make your timeline into a vision board of, you know, what it is that you're trying to achieve. And really focus on the information that you're reading, and that you're willingly subjecting yourself to, because obviously some stuff happens that you can't control, but there's a lot of it that you can control, and definitely who you follow and who you let influence you is one of those things. So I hope you enjoyed the Sister Circle today, that it got your wheels turning about sacred words and how to apply it to your own daily life. And yeah, that's all. So may your ancestors and spirit guides be with you at every crossroads. And I will see you all again next Monday at hopefully closer to 7:30. Oh, we'll hope that my kids don't hold me up. All right.